So what's nucleus? What is so special about the nucleus? Now the most important part about the nucleus is that it is the information center of the cell. That means everything that is happening inside the cell, or what has to happen, what has to be done, that is in the nucleus. It is controlling what goes inside the cell. And if you observe the cell under a microscope, I mean you will be doing the cheek cells or the onion peel cells, you will always locate one organelle which will be very prominent, and that will be nucleus. Now nucleus is an important component of eukaryotic cell. It is found in the prokaryotic cell without the nuclear membrane, and the nuclear material just floats inside the cytoplasm. However, when you look at the eukaryotic cell, the nuclear material is enclosed inside the nuclear membrane, and there it is known as the nucleus. Now if you look deeper inside this picture, you can see the nucleolus, which is orangish in color. So this is present inside the nucleus. Then you can see these thread-like structures. These thread-like structures are called chromatin thread, and when the nucleus will be about to divide, they will convert into chromosomes, and these chromosomes are very important because they contain the genetic material or DNA, or we can say genes. Then when you look at this nucleus, can you see these tiny holes on its body? So these tiny holes are the nuclear pores. Pores means tiny holes which will allow materials to come inside, and then from inside they will prepare something and then move outside the nucleus. And like I said, the nucleus is enclosed in a nuclear membrane. So this is what nucleus is. Let's go on to our next portion. Let us now take a look at this picture. Please watch it carefully. This is a three-dimensional image of a nucleus again, and here they have shown the nucleus within the cell. And please observe that this nucleus is attached to another organelle. This is looking in layers, and this is known as endoplasmic reticulum. And when we do about the endoplasmic reticulum, you will understand why it is very close to the nucleus. Now you are clearly able to see the tiny pores here. There are other organelles you can see floating. So this is a nucleus at work. It is round in shape, and again it will have a double membrane which is known as the nuclear envelope, and this envelope has tiny pores. So this envelope is important because it will keep the DNA separate from rest of the organelles. So DNA will not interfere with the working of the other organelles, and at the same time other organelles will not interfere with the DNA. They might accidentally alter its property or do something to it. That's why it is carefully separated and kept inside the nucleus. So now this is another diagram of nucleus. Earlier that I had shown you, they were mostly three-dimensional, but when you look at this diagram, this is the diagram that you draw in your science notebooks in your exam, and you also see this in your textbooks. So again, the reiteration of what I have said earlier, that it is round, it is a membrane. Now in this diagram you can see the double layer, the orange colored boundary. This is the double layer. You can see that there are breaks in this nuclear membrane. Now these are the parts or portions where we have the nuclear pore. So this is the place where the nuclear membrane will not continue. Okay, here the continuation is broken and it forms a nuclear pore. It forms a passage for things to move in and out of the nucleus. In the center you have nucleolus, You can see these chromatin threads in black, like they are scattered, like you have thread when your mom is stitching something. So if you do not keep it carefully, this is how it will end up. And then you have the nucleoplasm. So this is something new, the nucleoplasm, which I'm talking about right now for the first time in this video. So nucleoplasm is present between the nuclear membrane and the nucleolus. So this is the fluid where the chromatin fibers will be found or floating. Then you will have the nucleus, and there will be molecules and reactions going on. So this is the diagram that you should remember, and you can draw it in your science notebook. I'm sure your teacher will be very happy. There's nothing that lacks in this diagram. Okay, so now let's talk about the most important aspect of nucleus. You see this again, three-dimensional structure here. So this is the endoplasmic reticulum, which is surrounding our nucleus, and you can see how peacefully nucleolus is sitting in the center, and outside it, can you see these X-shaped structure? Can anybody guess what is this X-shaped structure? Of course, I have labeled it here, but still, if you have forgotten about it, or what is it that has led to the formation of these X-shaped structures? So let me remind you that we were doing chromatin fibers in the previous slides, and what happened to those chromatin fibers now? So this is probably a cell. This is actually a cell which is going to divide very soon. So when any cell is about to divide, the chromatin threads, they will start to condense, and upon condensing they acquire this X shape, which we refer to as chromosomes. These chromosomes will contain the DNA. They contain DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, which contains the gene, which in turn will carry genes. That is, these are the ones that are carrying information from one cell to the next, or from the parent or to the offspring. What the next cell is going to be like, what kind of features it will have. So this is carried by these chromosomes. Now important to note here is human body has 23 pairs of sex chromosomes. A boy will have one X chromosome and one Y chromosome, where a girl will have two X chromosomes. Genes present in the chromosomes decide the hereditary characters. For example, if the baby is going to have curly hair or straight hair, if the eyes are going to be big or small, the shape of the nose, the shape of the body, height, everything is decided through these chromosomes. So they are extremely important to the organism. So this is the image of chromatin threads. This is a very clear image, a magnified image, and you can see how these purple threads are floating inside the nucleus. These threads are in the state when the nucleus is in resting phase. It is not going to divide anytime soon. So this is the genetic material which is floating like this. But when the nucleus or the cell is about to divide, then this nucleus will get activated, and these chromatin threads, they will start to condense, thicken, and turn into X-shaped structure, which we call as chromosomes. So I hope it is clear to all of you that these chromatin fibers found inside the nucleus are actually going to condense to give you chromosome only when the cell is about to divide. It has genetic material, the DNA, And the DNA in turn has genes. Genes carry all the hereditary characteristics from the cell, from the parent cell to the offspring or the daughter cell. So we have reached the last slide of this presentation, and here we will discuss the function of nucleus. This is the question which is generally asked during the exams, and one must know what function each organelle does. So let's talk about the function. So first and foremost, it controls and coordinates the activities of the cell. It is the boss of the cell. It is just like it is telling the all the organelles, do this, do that. Now we are supposed to be, going into this phase or that phase. We must be transferring this characteristic, now this. So this is why it is known as the control center, and also it coordinates the activities of the cell. So it's like the boss of the cell. Then it is responsible for passing on the hereditary information from the parent to the offspring. We have discussed it already, so definitely it becomes its second important function. Then lastly, we have been talking about its component, which is nucleolus. So what is the function, what is the purpose of having a nucleolus in the nucleus? Now nucleolus prepares ribosomes. This is something which we are not going to be talking too much in detail, but you must know that ribosomes are very, very important to the cell. They are important component of the cell and also the nucleus, because they help in manufacturing or synthesis of the proteins. So what do proteins do? So when you look at your DNA or DNAs, they are what? The genes, the DNA, they contain the proteins. They are made up of proteins, so they are extremely essential to the existence of the cell or the organism. So with this, we come to the end of this video, and I hope you all have found it useful and will definitely keep watching it on and off whenever you need to learn more about nucleus. Thank you and bye bye.